bikes have been available in our Indian market for quite some time now. But then, they're just too expensive and not really ideal for our crowded city traffic light conditions. Hence, they're reduced to being machines that are reserved for that weekend blast out on the highway. I need something that's suited for the open roads but yet friendly enough for the city. Something that's not as expensive as the liter class bikes. And that something could just be the Kawasaki Z800. Now at about 8.05 lakh rupees ex-showroom Delhi, it's not exactly cheap. But it's still cheaper than its big brother, the Z1000, by over 4 lakh rupees. Sure, the Z1000 is more powerful, faster and lighter than the Z800, but it's not by a huge difference. And considering the price to performance ratio, the Z800 makes a whole lot more sense. The styling of the Z800 perfectly defines its personality. With its aggressive muscle-bound looks and futuristic styling, this Kawasaki is definitely an attention-grabbing machine. But what I love most about this bike, apart from its looks, is the way that it fits me. Once you get your leg over, which is quite high, the seating position is upright. The handlebars are wide and straight. The seat, though thin, is wide and adequately padded to provide a decent amount of comfort. The perfectly sculpted fuel tank has nice recesses for tucking in the knees. Everything is within easy reach, and it's difficult to find fault with the ergonomics of this menacing looking machine. A big digital instrument console displays the speed, fuel gauge, engine temperature, clock, and even features a real-time mileage indicator and distance to empty meter. The vertical display tachometer is housed in the center of the console, but is not very easy to read because the number markings are just too small. The switchgear feels nice to use, but I miss not having the self-cancelling indicators on this motor. A minor niggle, but what I do appreciate is the attention to small details like the Z pattern on the seat and the Z-shaped tail lamps, which just highlight the brand image of the bike. The Z800 is powered by an inline 4-cylinder 800cc engine which generates about 113 PS of power and 83 Nm of torque. The top speed of the bike is rated at 230 km/h, and that's not slow. To tame all that power, there's the 310mm dual semi-floating discs at the front and a 250mm single floating disc at the rear, and we even get anti-brake lock system as standard. Considering that the bike weighs 230 kilograms, that should make it fairly quick. And it certainly is. The 100 km/h mark is crossed in about 3.5 seconds, and one can do it in the very first gear itself. The 6-speed gearbox is super smooth, but what has won my admiration is the tuning of these gear ratios. One can easily loiter around at about 40 km/h in the 6th gear itself, but just twist the drive-by-wire throttle open and the Kawasaki's horses are set free, and it responds with an eagerness that is sure to leave you grinning from year to year. What I really like is the fact that the chassis is well sorted for leaning into corners and taking those sharp sweeping bends with ease. It feels nicely poised and planted and is fairly agile when it comes to suddenly changing directions even at high speeds. It's quite a capable highway carving machine, though the wind blast at triple-digit speeds will have you crouching as low as possible to cheat the wind. It is a naked bike after all, and flexing all that muscle does have its side effects. Now, the positive side is that it is less cumbersome, and with a good ground clearance, it is pretty well suited for our uneven roads and crowded city-type traffic conditions. It is easy to maneuver in traffic because of its compact size, and one does not have to think twice before swinging a leg over for a short ride around town. After spending a few days with the Z800, I have only one thing to say. This bike is an absolute cracker. Naked Street Fighter looks coupled with enough horsepower and its dual role ability as a city-friendly bike and a highway blasting machine, the Z800 rates very highly in my books. It's quick, fast, practical with a dual factor of 10. I mean, who wouldn't want a bike that can be used every day and yet has the legs to keep up with the big boys out on the open road? Just look at this crowd. 25,000 people gathered at the Budh International F1 circuit to witness something absolutely new, the T1 Prima Truck Racing Championship. The debut season of the championship took place on the 23rd of March and was the scene of some intense action between the 12 trucks that took part in this inaugural season. The T1 Prima Truck Racing Championship comprised of two races, a 5-lap sprint race and a 15-lap main race. The massive trucks jostling for position on the track proved to be a treat for motorsport enthusiasts who had come to watch this one-of-a-kind race. The race itself provided some good action with some interesting overtaking moves and high-speed cornering. And even a track as wide as this proved a little narrow for these massive machines, and they could be seen running off the track to stop themselves from running into each other. The 12 drivers who took part in this race are international drivers who regularly compete in the British Truck Racing Championship and were most capable of handling these machines and put on a great show for the crowd. These specially modified trucks, which generate 370 horsepower and reach a maximum speed of 110 km per hour, were specially modified to meet a mix of safety and performance regulations needed for truck racing environment. The Champion Award of the championship was awarded to Stuart Oliver of the Castrol Vectron team. The winning driver was granted the award on the basis of combined points from both the races. The inaugural series of the Truck Racing Championship proved to be quite popular with the crowds and drivers alike. This unique initiative by Tata Motors too proved that there is a lot of potential for this kind of a sport, and judging by the attendance of the crowd, I'm sure they'll be happy to see these beasts jostling for supremacy on the racetrack again and again.